I'm back with the F-Type. Normal content does resume, but last weekend I was able to experience something a little bit different. I went to Porsche and drove a 981 GT4. Now, madly, that actually works out less than when I had the F-Type on finance. So the F-Type, the monthlies plus the warranty, the Porsche is less. I know, that's pretty mad, considering the Porsche is a £60,000 car and the F-Type today is worth maximum probably 30. So double the value, but less per month. Yeah. So I wanted to get your ideas on that really and tell you about my impressions of the 981 GT4 and where my head's at with this whole process. So, this isn't a GT4 review, because I haven't got a GT4 to review. When I took the car out last weekend, as I mentioned, I didn't take any camera equipment with me to film. It was purely just for the enjoyment and getting used to driving the car. Well, on the half-an-hour test drive I had, probably the 40 minutes with Porsche, I actually really enjoyed it. If you followed me since I went to Switzerland, you know when I went to Switzerland I went with a load of friends that had, at the time, 718 GT4s, not the 981 variant. And I'll be honest, I didn't really get it. Yeah, it's a cool car, but I'm not sure I would say it's worth almost £100,000. Now the 981 GT4, some would argue, isn't as much of a car as the 718. But for someone who hasn't driven a 718, that 981 was pretty special. It got me thinking, do I replace my Jaguar F-Type at some point, maybe not necessarily in the next day, with a 981 GT4? Is that a doable scenario? I thought I'd highlight some of the things I enjoyed about the 981 GT4 that kind of made it in some ways similar to what we experience in an F-Type. The first is the noise. The 981 GT4 doesn't have OPF filters, none of that jazz. When you start it, when you rev it, when you floor it, you get all the same sort of emotions that you get with the F-Type. It's a different kind of sound, absolutely, but it still sounds very good. So you're not disappointed like I have been driving some other cars where you miss out on the drama from putting your foot down. At the time, driving the 981 GT4, it was just a bit of fun. I mean, I inquired, I ran some numbers. As many of you probably know, I use or pester constantly Pioneer Finance with a gazillion quotes probably a day. If I don't take out a finance deal with them at some point, I'm pretty sure they will blacklist me. But they are super helpful when it comes to trying to find a car to replace this. Obviously, it's a very different car to the F-Type. The F-Type is a sports car, but leans heavily on the GT side of it, whereas the Porsche leans heavily on the sports car version of it. You know, it's low, it's got harder suspension. The steering feel is a lot different. Just the way it delivers power, and the rev limit is crazy. You can get up to, so I've heard, 80 miles per hour in second gear. Now, I'm not going to try and do that in this, because in second gear at 30 we're at 4,000 RPM. So yeah. Now, I know a lot of people have said the long gearing is frustrating. It means that you're not necessarily shifting the gears that much because you can kind of just leave it in second. But gosh, the noise that you get when you leave it in second is something different as well. The other thing is, I was kind of trying to work out what kind of car enthusiast I am. Before I bought the F-Type, I was interested in pretty much everything. Now I'm struggling to give up the F-Type. And I think that's the biggest thing, even when it comes to looking at alternatives, is I always find a fault where the F-Type delivers perfectly. And I'm not saying the F-Type is the perfect all-rounder, absolutely not. But it kind of feels like it is sometimes. I can quite easily take the F-Type anywhere. You know, more or less I'll take it to the shops. I can go to Tesco quite comfortably. However, going in a 981 GT4 is a little bit raw to go to the shops in. Maybe I'm wrong, but the one that I would have to choose, because of my height, would be the one with buckets, because I tried sitting in the comfort, and although I fit, I could feel that my back was definitely not going to be the comfiest in the world based on the position that I was seeing, whereas in this car I can sit comfortably for hours, to be honest. Have done on the way to Switzerland. The 981 GT4 is definitely going to be a better driver's car on the mountains than this, there's no doubt. But God, it's bright. Barely see. But the 981 GT4 is going to be a lot more, what's the word? I don't know. Uncomfortable is an easy one on the way there, because it is low slung suspension, and currently I'm in the Cotswolds heading north, and the roads aren't smooth, so I'm unsure whether a 981 GT4 would be a good solution. So that's where you guys come in. If you're watching this video, do I go for a night? What is this guy doing? Right. World's slowest car in front of me. Not sure what's going on. In fact, they didn't even have to go above the speed limit. They are going maybe 33 in a 50. Whatever. So yeah, that's where I want to open up the conversation with everyone that watches my channel. Now, I appreciate F-Type, and a lot of us are F-Type diehard fans. Moving to a 981 GT4. Has anyone else had that thought? Anyone else considered it? I like the fact that my golf clubs fit in the Jag. They're not going to fit in the Porsche, unless someone else knows where they'd go. So, it's a completely different kind of car. And yeah, I just need some help. But I wanted to share that that's currently my awareness. Obviously the F-Type is fully paid off, and that's great. The last payment comes out next month, which is the final balance. And then the F-Type's mine, which is a kind of a weird feeling. I'm going to be out of finance. And part of me maybe is getting a bit old in my mind, where I'm thinking, well, actually, rather than spending £500 a month on a car, I should be saving that money instead. Now, I know that makes me probably boring. I don't know. When I bought my F-Type, I did a calculation the other day. I think it was something like the cost of the F-Type, or running the F-Type, was like 20% of my salary, which is mad when you think about it. It may have been slightly higher than that anyway. I remember my bosses at the company that I work for being almost questioning where my money was coming from, because it certainly wasn't coming from them. So yeah, I've been umming and ahhing about keeping the F-Type long term. I'm still looking at making the modifications that I mentioned in a previous video, adding up Apple CarPlay, things like that. But yeah, the Porsche itch is beginning. Let me know in the comments below. If you made it this far in the video, comment 3, 4, 5. I always appreciate the support. Everyone who makes it to the end, thank you, thank you. There'll be more videos coming, more in the future anyway. And yeah, once again, I can't reach the screen, so thanks for watching. Bye.